Hey, good morning. This particular video is for my project management course. I know that some of y'all got a lot of questions, which is normal. I've taught this class many times, and face-to-face it's a lot different than it is online. The first couple of weeks, normally, first 2-3 weeks, we have to get organized, and I know that there's some challenges getting people in your groups and whatnot, so I've been there, done that, don't worry about that. But now we got to hit the ground running. So I want to show you some tools that I added for you that will be required. These are all things that I keep on my end in case the course gets audited. So if you go to Information Tech Project Management and you go to the modules section, I put them all, I think it's the fourth module down, it says videos, and there was some tools and resources that were going to be put in there. Now that I'm comfortable that you all know what you're doing with your groups, I have one more group change to make today. I'm going to be adding somebody because a group lost a member and that left only one member in the group. So, and then 2 people dropped out of the class. So that kind of affected one group that had 4 people. So I will be adding one student to one group today. I normally don't get involved with the groups, but I have a student that needs a home, so I'm going to put them in a group that only has, I think, 3 people or maybe 4 people right now. So I added a charter docs right here. Let's take a look at that real quick. All right, basically this is a project charter. And you're going to fill this out as your group. You're going to assign roles and responsibilities. This is just a simple form so that I know who's in what group. I print these up and then I keep them here at my desk so I can easily reach out to the different groups. Unfortunately, we don't really have a way to organize the groups on my end very well for this particular course, but I'm working on that. So you will be part of the stakeholders. One thing I do want you to know that as job interviewer is know the difference between a stakeholder and a stockholder. That is a very popular job interview question. So basically each team is going to need a leader, project manager. Fill that in here. You can put your project start date. You can actually officially start it sometime this week. You're going to work on a budget. I'll give you some tools in the next week to figure out a budget. Most of these are going to be virtual projects, if you will. So it's going to be a wild ass guess. We call it a swag in the industry. If you get on a project, you'll often hear that term, a swag. So I get it. It's not very scientific. This document can actually grow in time, so expect to make some changes with it over time. That's pretty much it for the charter. Your communication plan. Every project, there's normally going to be a communication plan that's determined by the team as a whole. Email is fine, and I do expect to see a couple Zoom meetings. Make sure you give me an invite to any Zoom meetings your group uses. Again, this is a document that could change over time. This is just a starter template for you. This is going to be different per project, so don't worry if maybe some of these will apply to your group, maybe they won't. And when I talk to you as a group this week, it is mandatory that your group makes an appointment with me this week. The only day that I don't have available is Thursday due to some doctor's appointments. So sometime by the end of the week I want to meet with everybody. I'm generally available from 9 in the morning till 8 at night. Earlier is preferred because my office is remote from my home, so I actually have to go out in the office. If you see my teeth chattering this morning during this video, it's because unfortunately I didn't turn on the heat in my office last night. So it's 55 degrees in the office right now, and the coffee is not warming me up. Then we have expectations. Again, this is something that could be changed over time. I do want you to submit your initial expectations. These are going to be this can be handwritten and then scanned and sent back to me. So you're going to have plans for all these things. And again, this is going to grow, but initially just start filling out the form. These are things that you can talk about in your groups, what your goals are going to be for these. And again, it's a working document. So this will change as you meet with me, and as your group submits things to me, I'll make suggestions. Just a guideline, but I do want to see something in writing on that. A lot of the terms that are used in these papers are available online. Progress report. This one's kind of important. I do want, from this point forward, your group's going to check in with me weekly. You can use this to submit to me. I want to know how things went, any challenges you had, and you will be evaluating each other. Part of your grade in this course is going to be a self-evaluation and a group evaluation. As with any group project, I know most of you don't like doing group work, but unfortunately it is required in this course. So we have to do group work, and you're going to be evaluating your peers. So for each of you and as a group, or as a group, you can fill this out. This is to keep track of things that you've encountered. This is how you report into me. And if there's things that are going well and why, I like to see that. And things that are not going well and why. Obviously, communications is going to be an issue, but everybody's expected to participate. So if your group says you're not participating, that will affect your overall grade. I'm not going to allow people to slack and allow just a couple people to do the work and other people just to do the bare minimum and get by. And expect me not to be very friendly if I have to call you and say, look, your group's not complaining. We've already had a couple issues with that, and I've broken up some groups and saw where there were some challenges, and I think that we got that fixed. This is what it is in the real world. You folks got to think of this as a job. So I know some of you don't take school very seriously. Not my problem. It's not fair to the rest of your team members if you don't do your work. Every project has risks. Now this is very, very important. And in my role at Disney, I was kind of the risk guy. We would get 25 people on a project, and they'd be $1 million projects, and they would be turning something over to my department that we would have that was a product that we had to use. Well, my knowledge base came from 20 plus years of experience of what goes wrong on projects and what we were going to need on my end to make the final project work for our department. So I like it that it comes up in there. It just takes a while. So when you're figuring out your project, start thinking about risk early on. What could go wrong with your project? And not so much in this project management course, but in my capstone course, where students do an individual project and they submit it to me, we've already had some people that had some ideas, and they went out and hardware was an issue with them. They can't get the hardware that they were looking for. It's not their fault. Right now with the COVID response, factories are shut down. A lot of them are only at 50% capacity. I'm also hearing in the industry that a lot of people are there's a lot of vacancies of the most valuable resource. Just the two most valuable resources on any project are, of course, people and of course money. All right, so one of the problems that are out there in the industry right now is there's a lot of jobs and there aren't enough people to fill them. I don't know why that is. I don't know if people just don't want to work. I suspect that had a little bit to do with it. The government sent out money for COVID, and there's a lot of people that can make more money by sitting at home and drawing unemployment and working off the system. I do know that locally we have a furniture store, and I spoke to the guy. I know furniture has nothing to do with technology, but I'll give you an example. There's something that's called a bird dog fee in the industry, and at this particular store, my wife and I are pretty close with the owner. We bought a lot of furniture off of him. He's telling us that in the industry he has suppliers that can't supply him with goods. They're only at 70% capability for their companies, and these people are offering sign-on bonuses for workers, and they're also offering a bird dog fee for any of their retailers that are selling their merchandise, that if they refer a potential job candidate to them and the job candidate does 90 days, they're giving them a $500 cash bonus as the retailer. I have never seen it to that extent in the industry, so it's really an interesting marketplace for all of us right now. These types of things come up on projects. Again, the most challenging thing is money and getting the supplies that you need. So that I've been on many projects where we couldn't get things that we hoped to get, and we had to find a substitute. So you guys may run into that challenge. If you don't run into it, I can assure you I will find something that I will ask you to change, and that's when we have what is called scope creep. So all of you expect me to make some changes to what you're going to be delivering at some point in time. It's part of the course, and it's something that I want you to be prepared for when you get to the real world. All right, so that was list of risks. And then the last item here that I posted this week that I'd like to see you start talking about in your groups, and I'm going to give you a week to do this. And during this time frame, we'll meet in your groups, and I will answer any questions you have. Every group's going to be a little bit different, so I can't make one video to cover all these and cover them properly. And I will help you as we go along when I meet with your groups, and I'm going to say, well, this could happen or that could happen. So that's part of the learning process. So your work breakdown structure, you're going to put your project name in up here, and then you're going to put everything that you plan to do, what you plan to do in your project, and how you think it's going to lay out. That'll be due at the end of this week. There could be 4 categories, there could be 2, there could only be 1. I suggest you break it down because any large task is much easier, I assure you, much easier to manage if you break it down into baby steps. So that's kind of what you're going to be doing this week. We're going to do this on the fly, but the most important thing that we do this week is that you guys create a meeting and include me in it. Again, I'm not available on Thursday, but I'm available pretty much the rest of the week. Hope that helps a little bit with that. I know it's a very generic explanation, but it's hard to can it into each and make it fit each project and each project group, so we'll have to tailor it as we go along. So you guys can kind of start looking at that now, and then we'll figure it out as we get there. Thanks. I'm looking forward to chatting with you later on this week. If you got any questions, send me an email. If you have a question, make sure you include your group in the email too through our course. Thank you, and have a good day.